Good morning. Good morning. Rev here. It's Friday, the 23rd of April, 2021. I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. I hope you're blessed. Remember that in my absence, Dr. John Huxtable is there for anybody who needs who's in need of a pastor. You can call him at the First Christian Church there in Verdon. Things are going well here in this recording endeavor that I have been invited to, and I will be home Saturday. Or no, I won't. I'll be home Sunday. That's why Sharon Wilson is standing in for me on Sunday morning in Verdon and in Girard. Again, remember, I expect you to be there. I know when the cat's away, the mice will play, and so I expect you to be there and support Sharon in her ministry. I will be back, of course, next Sunday in the pulpit. For those who watch online, there will be no actual service online this week, but I will try to do a devotion for you on Sunday morning so that you'll be fed something. We are continuing on in The Christ of Easter by Calvin Miller. This morning I am reading from Matthew chapter 26. It is verses 14 through 16. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 silver coins. And from then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Jesus' disciples betrayed their Lord in two different ways. Peter's way and Judas's way. Excuse me. Peter actually denied Jesus while hanging around a courtyard fire. He lingered near enough to the fire so he could be sure and see what was happening to Jesus throughout this long ordeal of the Savior's night trial. Peter must have sat there hopefully, buried by the bewildering confusion of all that was happening. He tried to pray that Jesus might somehow miraculously get out of this whole thing. Peter didn't go into the courtyard for the express purpose of denying Christ. In fact, just the opposite was true. He may have been there because he hoped to stand up for Jesus. And when the time came for his stand, he found that he lacked sufficient courage to do it. The denial of Judas, on the other hand, was a much more intentional betrayal. Judas sold Jesus in a conspiracy of plotting and conniving. Now, before we get too hard on Judas, let's ask ourselves, how much is Jesus worth to you? A lot of people, Christians especially, they kind of rail on Judas for betraying Jesus for a mere 30 pieces of silver. But a lot of us have often sold him out for much less. Perhaps the difference lies in how we sell Jesus. If in a moment of white-hot anger you betray Christ, like Peter did, in an unholy use of his name, you're less at fault than if you betray him as Jesus did, in a premeditated way. The businessman who is lured incidentally into larceny may be more easily forgiven than he who schemes his crimes. all sin is sin, whether of Peter's sort or Judas's sort. But those premeditated sins that live in our hearts, they can canker and destroy a lifetime of relationships. James describes the worst effect of premeditated sins. James says, each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desires. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is fully grown, it gives birth to death. We must never give evil a foothold in our conscience. Judas, he permitted evil into his heart and ended life with a jangling in his soul that overcame the jingle in his purse. My friends, sin is serious business. Perhaps the greatest of all sins is not to take sin seriously. Think about that. I love you guys. I'm Pastor Mark. Be safe, be well, be blessed. Go do something for Jesus. I'll see you tomorrow.